Well, good afternoon. Today is Sunday, October 31st, and this is Life Matters. Let's talk about it. Well, hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. I am Michele Irby Johnson. I am your host, and this is Life Matters with Michele. Thank you so much for joining me on today. You know, this is the platform when we talk about issues, concerns, things that are particularly, important in the African-American community. That is not to discriminate against anyone else, but these are some issues that I believe would be poignant and would be necessary for us as a community to grow and to go forward. And as usual, I would like for you all to be reminded to place your comments in the comment section. That way I can field them over to our wonderful guest who we have in studio today. Say hello, Miss L. Michele Rhames.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody.
Yes. We have none other than Michele Rhames. She won't tell me what the L is, but amen. So let me read a little bit about her. Let me first say this. I met her in June when we were on a speaker's tour in Detroit, Michigan, and she had such a powerful story as part of her presentation, and we're going to dive into that a little bit today. But let me tell you a little bit about this amazing woman. She is the founder and CEO of Hey Beauty Lifestyle Enterprises, LLC, which is one of the world's leading narcissistic aftercare, relationship, and lifestyle brands that is geared towards women and men who have been victims of the horrific grip of narcissistic abuse. Now, I know a lot of y'all don't know what that is, but y'all getting ready to get helped real quick. Hey Beauty offers the first narcissistic escape guide journal and personalized coaching blueprints and beautiful transformative tools to help our clients reset, recreate, and rebuild their lives. Your Hey Beauty lifestyle guide and coach, L. Michele Rhames, operates as a licensed narcissistic aftercare and etiquette coach lifestyle strategist who is a motivational and keynote speaker dubbed the world's most dissatisfied wife as a ghost. If I put my glasses on, this might work better. Michele has traveled many roads to inform and educate and tackle sensitive issues that affect people from all walks of life. And her work is beyond being just another coach as she focuses on narcissistic abuse and uncommon terrain and a situation that she experienced herself. She is a survivor of over 23 years. Once again, welcome my beautiful friend, Miss L. Michele Rhames. I know y'all know that name sounds real familiar.
Yeah.
Can I tell him?
You can tell him.
She's related to Ving Rhames. Yep. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. And so again, we are so excited to have you with us here today. And I want to first start off by having you give us a working definition of what a narcissist is, because a lot of people just think it's for the average person, like the former person that used to sit at 1600. We're not going to name no names and taint this program, but we all know that was a narcissistic personality sitting up there. But if you can give us a working definition for, let's say, the uninformed, that way they can understand what that means.
Okay, no problem. What a narcissist? I will give you my general definition. Narcissists, a narcissist, which they would call them NPDs, narcissistic personality disorder. And that's what it is. It's a personality disorder that affects the frontal lobe of the brain. Okay. And a lot of times you may be in a relationship and you're kind of wondering why this person has this grandiose thing about themselves, or feeling like they're better than you, talk down to you all the time, undermines everything that you do, those type of things. 9 times out of 10, you're dealing with someone that has the NPD, which is the narcissistic personality disorder. The narcissistic abuse happened probably years and years and years and years and years and years and years ago, but you just didn't know what kind of name to put on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know for myself, I didn't know what it was until just different things started happening, but I noticed that they were very strategic. Everything was very strategic. This person would literally try to make me think that I was crazy. They could be doing something and you could see them doing it, and then you'd say something about it and they'd say, "You didn't see that. That wasn't me. You know you're kind of crazy, right?
Mm.
That was not me. That was not me. You need help." And that's considered gaslighting, in which we can
Yep.
kind of get into that later. But that's what happens. They make you think that you are losing it, literally. But I'm telling you, it's strategic because you were actually sought after. You
Right.
didn't just meet this person just because. They watched you for a long time. They watched your mannerisms. They watched where you went and all those type of things until they wanted to approach you, and they would approach you at your very lowest or during a time when you were very vulnerable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're very strategic. They don't just go out and just meet people haphazardly. That's not what they do. They're extremely strategic. And these men, which, most of the time, NPD is, you know,
Common
diagnosed
to
in
men.
men more so than women. Not that women are not narcissists. I'm not saying that, but for the majority of the population, men are leading as having NPD.
Right, right. So, okay, so let me just lay this out. This is the last day that we quote unquote have Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I always try to bring people in who give us different perspectives on domestic violence, because as a survivor myself 24 years ago,
Mm,
as a teacher about domestic violence, as a counselor for domestic violence victims and such, I have to let them know that abuse, domestic violence is not just physical. And
right,
so when we talk about narcissistic abuse, people are like, well, I'm not being hit, I'm not being this, I'm not being that. But what they fail to understand is that abuse has many tentacles. People
correct,
just think that you have to be hit to be considered abused. They don't. They oftentimes, they know there's verbal and there's mental, there's psychological, there's emotional, there's spiritual, there's financial, but narcissism is a breed of its own.
correct.
And so when you said that it affects the frontal lobe, one of our questions that one of our guests says, can it be cured?
For the most part, no, because it actually stems from somewhere really deep. Like, typically,
Trauma.
narcissists are bred out of trauma.
Mhm.
They're
Mhm.
bred out of trauma. And
Yep.
it starts very, 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 very young. And unless they're willing to accept what they have or who they are, and someone else has to supposedly tell them, right? But deep down they know it, but someone else has to bring it to them, mirror them, if you will. And if you can get that person into counseling, they can be treated, but there's no cure for it.
That's
They can maintain it.
and that's almost like any other type of addiction, because narcissism could be an addiction because you're so used to the power, you're so used to that sense of entitlement, and
Right.
I'm the greatest thing that ever happened to the world. Again, going back a few years at 1600, the individual felt that they were the best thing since sliced bread, that
Absolutely.
walked this earth, and that everybody needed to believe, and all of these different things. And so when you think of the mind of a narcissist, again, it does stem from something traumatic, but something that's been bred, something that's
Correct.
been fed,
Correct.
something that's been nurtured, if I
Correct.
can say it that way.
Correct.
Because outside of that, like you said, if a person is counseled to the degree where they can actually unearth what that trauma was,
Mm-hmm.
what the bruise points were, what was it in their trauma triangle that was most affected outside of the other things, then there is a way to turn it around. But just like an alcoholic, that desire for it is always going to be there, but you don't always lean into it unless you want to.
Correct. Correct. Unless you want to. That's right. That's why I said that they know. They know what they are. And
Yeah.
they're trying so hard to, I call it a mask, if you will. They're trying to hold on to that mask.
Mm,
And once they know that their mask is slipping, and once they kind of figure out that you know a little bit, then that's when all hell break loose. Like
exactly.
it gets really bad after that, because you are actually meeting a representative when you meet them.
Mm,
You're meeting a representative, it's not them. What
that's good.
Yeah, you are meeting a representative. And here's the thing, a narcissist does not have the ability to feel any type of empathy. None. So with most people that they are attracted to are people who can, like empaths. I would consider myself to be an empath because I can feel how other people feel. I can empathize with people. I can feel deeply and those type of things. Narcissists are like shells. They do not have that ability. So what they are very attracted to people who have that ability to feel, because they want to mirror that, and that's how they suck you in,
Mm,
because they basically mirror you. If you're an empath and you're a good person, and you're kind and you're nurturing and those type of things, those are those things that they cannot really feel. They can't give those things, but they can act. So
mm,
they do whatever you do. If you're saying like, good morning, baby, how was your day, that type of thing, it's not that they really care about your day. They don't care about that. They're going to mirror you, and they're going to say, oh, my day was great, baby, I hope yours was too. No, 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 no. That's
mm-mm,
just another hook in you, because they have to make sure that you think in your mind that they are, that they can feel you and they really care about you. So they have to mimic what you do. Yeah,
mm,
they and as far as them caring about you and loving you and all that, that's obsolete. No, they can't feel it. They don't know what it is, because they've never been loved properly. They have no
mhm.
idea how to love. They don't. So they get and they suck you dry. They suck you from everything that you are. And once they suck you dry, then they start to devalue you.
And that's a wearing out tactic.
It is. It
The
is.
the typical abuser will do that, but a narcissist is crafty.
He's very crafty.
Um, I'll say he because
Because
primarily they are
primarily,
men,
yes,
and so they are so crafty. Like you said, they mirror, they mimic, they're imposters, and so as you said, they will watch you from afar off. They can see the weakness in you.
yes,
They
they
can
can.
see when you are um, lonely, or
Yes,
missing something from your life, and so they will come and be that additive,
correct, correct.
right? And and then they start to make you feel like, oh well, this person understands me, and so
Hmm.
you open yourself up and
Correct,
you become, I'm going to say, a coffin for their deadly poison, and they pour it all in you and pour it all on you in a hopes of grabbing you and, like you said, sucking you dry
correct,
until
correct.
you've gotten to your weakest point. And so all they can do is manipulate and isolate and lie and all of these various things.
Absolutely, because you're weak at that point. You have no fight back at that point. And
Mm-mm.
because you, at some point during the abuse, because see, they are grooming you to what they want you to be. So they groom you, they talk to you, and they do all these things. They start very small. Like my abuser started really small with telling me that I couldn't wear certain nail polish.
Mm.
And then that, that went to, I don't really like, those type of clothes, it graduates. I don't like those shoes. I don't like the way you wear your hair. I think you look prettier this way. Or I think this, he's manipulating you to be this doll of sort that they can put on a shelf and take off whenever they feel like it. And I'll say this, once you are trauma bonded to that narcissist, it can take years and years and years for you to break that trauma bond. Because
Mm-hmm.
what ends up happening is you end up feeling empathy for your abuser,
Yeah.
for the predator.
Stockholm. Stockholm.
Okay, exactly. That's right. You end up feeling sorry for them. You end up feeling like you can fix them. And it's bad because most empaths do. We feel like we can just fix the world.
And
That's
that
not
your
right.
love is going and that your love is powerful enough to fix them.
Right, right. And no, it won't. What it does is it to them it translates as weakness. You can't give a person more love and expect them to treat you right. If they're not going to treat you right, they're not going to treat you right. You can't love them to treating you right. They have to make a decision to treat you right and treat you how you're supposed to be treated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this is so good. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to Michele Rhames, and we are discussing narcissistic abuse on this last day of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And we are talking about some of the behaviors for which to look out for with a narcissist. And again, we said that narcissism starts from some type of trauma that has not been dealt with, and
Correct.
it creates a sense of entitlement. It creates a sense of inability, apathy, if you will, inability to feel, and they mimic. And I'm just giving you all a recap for those of you who are just joining us. They have an inability to feel on their own. And so what they do is they hijack your feelings
Correct.
and they imitate them and
Correct.
try to make them seem like they're genuine and they're coming from their heart. But in actuality, they are not. And somebody posted and said, does narcissism get worse over time?
Yes, because their game gets better.
Mm-hmm. I knew the answer, but I was like, let me tell you.
The game gets better. It's bad. The young people would say, "Oh, it's hard in these streets," but it's just true. Their game gets better, and believe it or not, you're actually giving them the tools to get better because
Mm,
you can't leave on your own. So you are giving them the tools. They watch you, like every person that they're with, they literally, you're like a classroom for them. They study you,
mm,
right? And everything that they withdraw from you, that goes into their little personal arsenal. So that when they go to the next person, because they will go to the next person,
oh, yeah.
you are not, and let me say this to put this into perspective. You are not a person to them. You are considered supply.
Mm,
Okay, you are supply. So you might be the primary supply for that narcissist, right? But the narcissist is going to have a secondary supply, a tertiary supply, and on and on and on, because they work in cycles. Like say today, I might be okay. I'm the primary. Say I'm the primary supply right now, right?
mm-hmm.
When he's love bombing me, meaning that he's giving me everything I think I want, he's telling me all he loves me, doing all of the gushy stuff, right? He'll do that for a little while until he's tired of you. But you go to the devalue stage. But guess what? The secondary supply, her time is up now to begin to get love bombed. So during your time of devaluation, he's love bombing the second source of supply. Then once the second source of supply to be devalued, then he goes to the third level of supply, and then he love bombs her. So it's a cycle. It's a cycle. And I would always be able to tell when it was my turn.
Mm, because you would get the love
I
bombing.
would get the love bombing. And I would say to myself, I said, oh, he must have got sick of number 2. Mm-hmm.
Now,
It's literally a cycle.
so my thing is, when you're married to the narcissist, and you're talking about secondary and tertiary, that means that he or she, or he, we'll say he is cheating,
Correct.
and you are the primary
I
because
am
you're
the
the wife.
primary. Correct.
But a narcissist has no problem with extramarital involvement, whether it's sexual or non-sexual, because he believes that he's entitled.
Correct.
I just wanted to make sure, because I mean, I know it, but I wanted to make it clear for
Correct.
our audience
Absolutely.
that a narcissist can be married and still have secondary and
Correct.
tertiary suppliers, if you will,
Correct.
that fuel his foolishness.
Correct. Correct.
Mm,
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
And just to let you know, they are very reckless when it comes to sexual exploitation. They are extremely reckless. No protection, no nothing. They could care less. It's all about what they want at that particular time. And if
Mm-hmm.
you cannot give them what they want at that particular time, and they have a need, or they have an urge, or they have a whatever it is, then they're going to get it somewhere. And then that's whenever they choose, who's going to give them what at whatever, whatever time period. And see, that wife, she gets it the worst because she's the primary source.
Because he gets to come home to her.
They come home to her. She's the one that the family knows. She's the one that everybody knows. But think about this, everybody knows about that secondary supply too.
Mm. But they won't say anything.
No, they're not going to say anything because there's a thing called triangulation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what they do is, like, if they're to keep you in place, they make sure that they've told somebody's outside of you something crazy about you. Oh, she kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of off. Da 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 da. So what he's doing is he's setting it up. He's setting everything up real nice and pretty, so that if you ever tried to leave,
You got enemies on the outside.
correct, they will start a entire smear campaign to smear your name, to smear your reputation, do all of that. And they're called flying monkeys. I mean, that's what they're using. He uses them as flying monkeys. They do whatever he says because he's already set that up years ago before you even knew. He's telling the mama that you crazy. He's telling the sisters, oh, she always doing this and she's always doing that. He's doing all of that to make sure that when it's time, because it will be time for him to discard you. When he discards you, then he knows that smear, he puts that smear campaign into play. Presses
Right.
a button and the flying monkeys go out and do his bidding. He doesn't have to do anything because he's already set it up. So the primary source is somewhere in a corner trying to figure out where her life is. And that's why a lot of them are literally like, they have the nervous breakdowns and they go through all of this depression and anxiety and all of these different things because they leave without warning. They're gone.
Because they feel that they can. It's
Yeah.
and again, going back to this whole entitlement thing, like you said, they're reckless. They're
Correct.
reckless with your heart. They're reckless with your emotions. They're reckless with your finances. They're reckless even with the children that they create or that
Correct.
they deposit into you. They don't really want children. They just wanted
No.
to make a deposit as a means to keep you close and have some
Correct.
type of
A
tethering
bonding
to
or
you.
something. That's
They
right.
want to bond to you. And so
Hmm.
they don't really want the children. It goes back to that recklessness and just going and sleeping around and doing all these things to
Correct.
making babies with
Right.
no intention of loving them the way that they should, because
No.
their primary reasoning is to make sure that they have a constant connection with you.
Correct. It's all selfish.
It's very
And it's all
selfish.
self-serving. That's what it is. It's all self-serving. I mean,
Self.
and a lot of them abuse their children. They, like they start off small, you
Mm-hmm.
know. If they have a boy, they start off emasculating the little boy, and doing those type things. And so that's whenever they create their own spawn.
Mm-hmm. And they try, because what they do is they bruise them, then they
Correct.
turn around and tell them how to use their pain.
Correct. That's right.
That's exactly what they do.
That's right. That's right. It's just the truth. It's just the truth. And it's just so sad. It's so sad because these children don't ask to be here,
Right.
and then when they are being used for, this person's, own gratification, because you have to understand your pain. And I hope I can say this without, you guys taking it the wrong way, but your pain gets them off.
Absolutely. This is a free form
Okay.
here. So
Okay.
I mean, when I post it, I tell people it's not for children, okay?
Okay.
But the
Okay.
rest of us should be able to handle it because this is the reality in which we live.
Right.
They do, just like some people who kill somebody will actually have intercourse with them after they're dead
Correct.
because it's they're being deceased. Is what they're getting off on, the fact that they're doing it to somebody that cannot respond, cannot cry, cannot do anything. And
Yeah.
so people have various ways in which they get off
Yeah.
sexually that has nothing to do with sex, but that's what they're thrilled, that's what their release comes in.
Correct.
But it's really a sad thing to consider that somebody who has basically stalked your life,
Correct.
stalked your heart,
Yes.
stalked your vulnerabilities, and then they play on them. And then when you respond to what they do, they want to, jack your life up by telling everybody, like you said, starting the smear campaigns on your job,
Yes.
dropping things on Facebook, or social media, whatever. And, and then now you're trying to, for lack of a better word, clean up the mess that they've created. And then people are like, they're kind of leery with you. Because when I was abused, after it was all said and done and I finally escaped and everything, people that we were mutual friends with didn't know how to handle me because they were like, well, this is what, we know. I said, but he's lying. But you can't fight against a lie that was told 3 months, 4 months, 6 months before you even got there to fix it.
Correct.
And so by this time, it's already taken root and seated itself in somebody's spirit. And so now you're trying to rectify,
Right.
what they said and what they did about you. And that makes it so much harder.
It
And,
is.
having a family member who's lived with somebody, was married to a narcissist, it broke my heart to find this out after the fact, because I was thinking, well, what is wrong with her? Why
Yeah.
is she, she's so quiet, or why this or why that? I had no idea that she was under the thumb, or shall I say,
Correct.
the steel foot of
Correct.
this narcissistic husband.
Yeah.
And it broke her spirit down to the least common denominator. And then when I was able to talk to her and she explained it to me, and I was like, oh my God, girl, I had no idea. I mean, I was completely aghast
Yeah.
at what she was telling me.
Yes.
And so the thing about it for the victim is they feel helpless and they feel like nobody's going to believe them, just like a rape victim.
Correct.
And even though this person is not necessarily being raped physically, their whole being,
Right. Their
spiritually
identity is
and
gone.
emotionally, their identity has been raped.
Correct. They no longer have it. I mean, they are just a I would tell my ex, I would say, I just feel like a toy to you whenever you feel like being bothered or whatever the case may be, because he he kind of he isolated me from my family, friends, that type of thing, and the whole thing of no, you're nothing, and nobody's ever gonna treat you like I treat you, because they feel like just because they do a little bit of something for you when it's supposed to be their duty to do that and to cover you and to love you, when they do those types of things, they feel like that's a reward for you for,
Right.
for good behavior.
For
So
staying, for
exactly.
putting up with it.
Putting up with the mess.
Mm,
So
mm.
whenever you do something or stand up for yourself, that narcissist receives a narcissistic injury, and then they feel like you need to be punished for that. So a lot of times the punishments come in the silent treatment, which is one of the worst, because psychologically it really messes you up when you're in the same house and they're not talking to you, they're walking by you, they all those type of things, and you're feeling like lower than low, and this can go on for months. They won't say a word to you.
Mm, mm, mm.
I went through one for like 3 months one time. He wouldn't say
Wow.
anything to when I say anything to me. And I started losing a lot of weight. I was always nervousy, just nervous all the time, and
Walking on eggshells.
just walking. Yeah, it was I literally thought I was in the twilight zone because I was like, okay. And then once they make you question yourself, they know they got you.
It's easier then because they've
Yeah.
worn you out. They
Because
have worn you out.
because I said to myself, maybe I am. Yeah, I must be losing it. Because they've done it over. It's repetitive. It's repetitive, and they know that once they keep telling you the same thing over and over again,
You
they know
believe
at
it.
some point you're going to start believing it.
And you're gonna
It's
walk it out.
horrible.
hmm You're gonna
It's
start walking
horrible.
it out,
That's
acting it
right.
out, and you start to personify the lie.
Absolutely.
And again, ladies and gentlemen, just to let you all know, we're talking to the Michele Rhames, and
Amen.
we are talking about narcissistic abuse. Um, this is so heavy, I tell you. What are some of the signs that someone is either in a relationship, married to a narcissist, and even to the extent, and I'm gonna say this because I'm a pastor,
Okay.
spiritual narcissism. Let me say this. I say if it's spiritual narcissism, they're dealing with a Jezebel spirit, but
Basically,
that's something else right there.
that's
But
something else for
anyway,
another time because that's gonna go deep, Pastor.
that's
That's gonna go real deep, right?
real deep.
That's something for another time.
It is
Um,
some signs of a narcissistic
well, a couple of
relationship.
signs that you know that you're probably in a narcissistic relationship is whenever you yourself you can't figure you out.
Jesus.
I mean, literally, you are fighting with yourself. That's number one. There's a different ones, but that's number one. When you're fighting with yourself within, and you're in a relationship with this person, and you're fighting with yourself to try to convince yourself, yeah, you're probably in a narcissistic relationship. If you're having to walk on eggshells all the time around them, then you're probably in one. If if you if they don't have the ability to show you empathy, like say if you're hurting, like when I lost my child, I basically was told, get up, it's not all that. When they don't have any type of understanding or anything like that, then you're probably in a narcissistic relationship. If they feel grandiose around you, like they are over you, then you're probably in a narcissistic relationship, narcissistic abusive relationship. If for whatever reason, if this person has these particular ways, meaning obsessive ways, you have to watch their obsessiveness about things. One of my examples of about being obsessive is um, my ex wanted things in the pantry to be pointing to a certain, like north, south, east, or west. He wanted
Sleeping
it,
with the enemy.
yeah. He's, oh my God, literally, he wanted things to be pointing a certain way. Okay, if he went into the pantry and things were off, he would take everything out of the pantry, and I could be in the bed asleep. He would take everything out of the pantry, would come upstairs and pull me like I was a kid, and he'd just kind of say, "Now look at this. Do you see what's wrong here?" And I'm looking like, "Oh, what? I don't know what you like. I don't know what you mean." And he says, "This can." He said, "First of all, the label should be pointing this way. How am I going to know it's corn, Michelle, if the label is turned around?" And I'm just like, "What in the what?" Like, because I've never like experienced this type of stuff. But if they are obsessive with things like that,
Yeah.
yeah, more than
Red
likely,
flag. Red
that's
flag.
a big red flag.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're
Mm-hmm.
extremely secretive, you got to be careful with that. If they're extremely secretive about like their friends and their past and different things like that, it's because they're hiding something from you. Okay. Let's even take it as far as social media. If for whatever reason you're with them and they kind of hide you or what have you, it's because the other sources of supply are connected to those particular platforms and they don't want you to be seen.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah.
That's control on a whole nother level when they trying to it's just control. The bottom line, anything dealing with domestic violence is all about power
It's
and
all about
control.
control.
You
Correct.
know, people, again, like I said at the top of this segment, that people, when they hear domestic violence, the first thing they think is is a fist in your face.
Right.
That is typically not the first thing that happens. Before a person hits you in the face, before a person punches you or kicks you or push you down the steps, they do so many other things to get you to a place where you're weakened. They get your mind, they get your spirit, they get your heart, they get your vulnerabilities, they get all of these things. And once they know, like you said, that you're already broken down to your least common denominator, to hit you is nothing.
That's right. Then they will hit you because you will then start to say you deserved it
Yeah, yeah.
because they've already messed your head up
Mm-hmm.
already and they
Yeah,
know that. So once they hit you, that's like you said, that's the icing on the cake. That's nothing to them. But
yeah.
here's the thing, they're so strategic, they're not going to hit you in your face. Mm-mm. They're going to hit you below your neck and or like or on your arms or something like that, but where things can be covered up.
Exactly, exactly. Because
Yeah, that's
I
what they do.
recall I couldn't tell my job, but
Mm.
well, actually, I had gone to the magistrate
Mm-hmm.
to file a protective order, but
Right.
the magistrate had the audacity to say I didn't look abused. And so the next time I went, I had on a turtleneck, but I had to pull my turtleneck down. I had handprints
That's
because
right.
he had choked me the
Yes.
day before, and all you saw was like literally fingers
Yes.
around my neck,
Yes.
bruises.
Yes.
And so they were like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, I you have to almost be halfway dead for them to believe that you're in an
Exactly.
abusive
Exactly.
relationship. And so we've got to start trying to find a way to change the laws, which starts with the change of a mindset, because people are thinking unless you've been hit, unless there are bruises, you're not being abused. But they don't know that narcissistic abuse is so deep seated, and it will take some people years upon years to get out. They would have moved away, the person would have died, and they would still be operating as if they're still living with this narcissist.
Yes.
Again, going back to my loved one, she was still feeling like she had to rush home
Correct.
because she was always being clocked.
Exactly.
And I'm like,
They time everything.
honey, let me tell you, speed odometers in the car with my abuser. He would check the
Mine
odometer
too.
every time I came home to
Mine
see
too.
how many miles I had driven.
That's
Have
right.
if I, it's so it's so that was he was narcissistic,
Correct.
but thanks be to God that
Mhm.
my mind didn't go but so far. Now I had
Right.
my moments when I wanted to jump out the window, but I didn't.
Right.
But
Right.
it's this is, oh my God, this is such an important topic,
It
Michelle,
is.
because you and I both know, having lived inside of that bubble,
Yes.
smiling on the outside, but
Yes.
standing inside of this bubble with
Yes.
all of these detrimental things that we
Correct.
live with every single day.
Every single day.
It's hard to explain to people.
Correct. Because they think that they think that you can just jump, just up one day and leave. That's not how that works.
That's not how it
It took
works.
me 7 times,
Hmm.
7 whole times for me to even leave.
And that's the typical
Permanently
number.
leave.
Yeah, that's the typical number because, like you said, like we both have said, because it's a pattern, it's a cycle. And then if you've been with a narcissist for a long time and they've crippled your mind and your spirit to such a degree, and you feel like you can't do any better, you do go back. So
Correct.
yes, statistically, a person will leave 7 times before they actually leave permanently. But sometimes between that first and the seventh time, she'll go back, or between that first and seventh time, she'll be killed.
Correct.
Because that's the most dangerous time for a victim of domestic violence, is when you leave.
Is when you leave. I I planned my escape with a battered women's shelter. And the first thing that the counselor told me was, don't do anything abrupt,
Right.
Michelle. Don't act different.
Mm-hmm.
They can pick it up. You know, don't call us from your house. If you got to call us while you at work or somewhere out of the house. Don't call us while you're there or anything like that. Don't give off the scent that you're trying to leave, because he'll kill you before you even get your foot out the door,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so it took me almost 6 months, about 6 to 10 months, before I could really plan it the way that we needed to plan it, because the battered women's shelter and their team and all their counselors, they want to make sure that you're ready to go,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because
because
you
they
can't.
can't tell you to go.
No. Mm-mm. And then, that there could be no oops. No, I think I want to. You can't do that, because in that blink of a moment, he's already caught on and you're done. So
Mm-hmm.
you have got to be sure up here first, and they prep you. They get you ready. They get you ready, through these classes and different things like that. Like, I had to do stuff so sneakily, and I was packing my suitcase in the back of our closet, because we had this big walk-in closet. So I had a suitcase in the back of the closet, hidden behind some pillows and some boxes and all this other stuff. But what I would do is I wouldn't take nothing out of the closet. I would buy things like from the Walmart, like underwear, toothbrush, stuff that I needed, and I would take it to my girlfriend's house. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And things like that. And I'd be like, listen,
Don't tell too much,
don't,
Michelle, because we don't know who's watching. Because I have tricks of the trades too, so don't tell it all.
yeah,
But
okay, but yeah. So that it's just that you have to be ready to go.
mhm.
If you're in it, you have to be ready to go.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we are talking to Michele Rhames. We are discussing narcissistic abuse. If you are in trouble,
Yes.
please reach out to Michele Rhames at info@heybeautylifestyle.com. That's info@heybbeautylifestyle.com. Or you can join her Facebook group, which is called Elegant Escape. And also, if you can't reach her, you can certainly reach me, because
Yes.
I have been counseling and coaching and helping women with safety plans for 20 some years,
Yes.
ever since I escaped. Now, see, I didn't have a shelter like you, Michelle. I
Wow.
didn't. I didn't know anything about the shelters. I didn't have support. I was it was crazy. I have to tell you my story some other time.
Yes.
But the point of the matter is, one thing we as counselors know is we don't tell people to leave.
No.
Never tell a person to leave. They
No.
have to say, I'm ready to leave.
Correct.
Because when you tell them and they don't know the strategy on how to leave, they're
Exactly.
going to get killed. Their
Correct.
children are going to get killed. Their
Correct.
pets may get killed. My abuser used to come on my job and harass the people on the job.
Mhm.
So you have to be
Your
very
parents can
strategic.
be killed. If they can't get you,
They'll get the closest
they'll
thing to you.
get
And
the closest
so
thing to you.
if you need help, ma'am and or
And,
sir,
or sir.
if you need help, please reach out to Michele Rhames at info@heybeautylifestyle.com. You can certainly reach out to me as well, because like I said, I do the same work she does. It's just that, we're on in two different places, and we never have enough of us. We
Amen.
need more of us, advocates for victims, to help them to understand that they are not the issue.
Correct.
But if you need help, ma'am and or sir, please email Michele at info@heybeautylifestyle.com,
Yes.
or join her Facebook group, ladies only,
Ladies.
called The Elegant Escape. And
Yes.
again, if you need me and you can't reach her, certainly you can find me at MIJ hyphen, what is my email address? Visit my website, which is www.im-mij.com/contact us, or you can get me through my ministry, which is livingbygraceministries.org. You
Amen.
can find me. You Google me, you're going to find my face somewhere. And
Yes.
again,
Yes.
I help people to escape, just like Miss Michele. So we are here to help you all to get to where you need to get. Michele has a book that is coming out soon called Elegant Escape, Narcissistic Guidebook and Journal, is being released at the end of November. I admonish you, ladies and or men,
Yes.
if you need it, I'm sure it'll be on her website somewhere
Yes.
where you can order it and walk through this journey so that you can unearth, uncover, and then recover. Amen. Thank you, God. And, and get yourself to a place where
Yes.
you can stand on your own and not live in the residue of what
Yes.
happened to you.
Absolutely.
Yes. And then let me get my announcements out of the way so you can close us out. I want to let you all know that I have 2 books that are coming out. You can pre-order your copies of Boots and Beyond, Stories of Triumph,
Amen.
Tragedy, Triumph, and Transition.
Amen.
And my
Amen.
second book, which is My Bald is Beautiful, I Am Not My Hair. Both are $20. They are in pre-order status now. Boots and Beyond is being released on Veterans Day, November 11th. And My Bald is Beautiful, I Am Not My Hair is being released on December 6th. Once again, if you want a copy, if you want to pre-order your copy, you can certainly email me at michele@im-mij.com. That is MICHELE at
Amen.
IAM-MIJ.com, and I will send you the purchase link. Also, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to watch the replay, you can certainly go to my YouTube channel, which is Life Matters with Michele TV Official. Don't forget to subscribe so you can be notified every time that we post a show. And if you can't watch the show and you can only listen to the show, you can hear me every Friday on sensationalsoundsradio.net at 4:00 p.m. Lastly, if you would like to be a guest on my show, please go to my website, which is www.im-mij.com/contact us. I am now scheduling guests for season number 4, which starts in January 2022. I'm still trying to determine whether I'm going to keep doing it every week or if I'm going to do it every other week or once a month. We will see what the Lord says. But if you want to be a guest, we will slide you in somewhere. All right, back to our very special guest, Miss Michele Rhames. Tell us, my dear, what type of people attract narcissists? I know we said something about vulnerable people, but tell us that, and then wrap us up with some last minute advice for those who may be in a narcissistic relationship.
Okay. Typically the people that a narcissist is attracted to, like I said, are people who are empaths, people who are very nurturing, very kind people, and they can smell if you have like low self-esteem, those type of things, they can smell you from a mile away. Yes, they are attracted to that because they know that you're just not strong enough to be able to fight them off, especially mentally. Yes,
Mm.
those are the type of people that they are attracted to because they cannot feel empathy. So they are attracted to people who are empaths, who are nurturers, and who are people who would basically, build them up. Those type of people. They will not deal with another narc because they know themselves. They
Yeah.
will never deal with another narcissist. That
Mm.
that 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 just won't happen. They will always deal with someone that they actually, in a way, admire.
Mm.
Hmm.
That is interesting.
Hmm. They
They actually
admire
want to
you.
be you, but they're
Correct.
not you. So instead of being you, they manipulate you.
Correct.
Oh God.
And they
Mm.
tear you down. That's right.
Mm.
They find the people that they want to be, and then they just dismantle their lives and destroy them.
Mm.
Yes, absolutely.
So is it when you think about a narcissist, is there anything that they cannot answer? Because I'm going to say, I'll let you answer, then I'll say my
What,
point.
what do you mean? You said,
Is there anything that a narcissist cannot answer? If you ask a narcissist a question, is there anything they cannot answer?
um, no, there's
Right.
nothing that they cannot answer
Tell them why. Tell them why.
because they lie.
Not only
Then
that,
they
because they think they
manipulate
know everything.
because they're grandiose and because they think that they know everything. You can never tell them anything. You can't teach them anything because you're not supposed to know anything.
Right.
They know everything.
They try to rule
Everything.
and they try to rule and super rule, even in stupidity. They still
Absolutely.
they still think they know.
Oh
Ooh,
Lord. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's nothing that they can't. And then the thing about it is they lie so bad. It's like they lie so bad until they start believing that stuff. It is just now that I'm on the outside looking in, oh my God. I'm just like, wow.
if they said that they were purple, and we all know that they're not, they will say it until they believe when they look in the mirror, they're going to see a
But they're
purple person
purple.
look back.
Yeah.
Mm.
They're gonna believe that they're purple. And then they're gonna tell you that you're crazy because you don't see that they're purple. Something wrong with you.
Something wrong with you.
Something wrong with you. You see I'm purple, girl. Something is wrong with you. Everybody else say I'm purple. My
Mm.
friends say I'm purple.
But they don't.
You know,
Wow.
yes,
Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to Michele Rhames. We are talking about narcissistic abuse. Give the ladies and gentlemen, our viewers, our listeners,
yes.
last words of advice, final words of advice when dealing with a narcissist.
Well, sweet queens and my kings, listen, it's not you. It never was you.
Mm.
Don't ever let them tell you that you're the cause or that you're the reason why they are acting and treating you a certain way. You know in your heart how you're supposed to be treated. And if you're treated anything less than, then you need to figure out a way to go.
Mm.
It's just not you.
It's
And I
not
know a
you.
lot of you probably feel like, well, dang, well, maybe if I dress better, or maybe if I lose this weight, or maybe if my hair was different, or maybe if I looked like Beyonce, or maybe if I did all these kind of things, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe
Mhm.
it does not matter. They're gonna do it. They're gonna continue to do what they're gonna continue to do. Has nothing to do with you. What you have to understand is it never has anything to do with you. It never will have anything to do with you. It's everything dealing with them and the insecurity with them and the hurt and pain in them. They're struggling on the inside because they know that they will never have the ability to feel those things that you feel. They will never have the ability to have someone look at them in the eyes of love and compassion the way that other people look at you. They know that that probably would never happen to them.
Mm.
That's why they hate you so much.
Mm.
That's why they want to destroy you. You
Wow.
have what they want.
Wow. Woo, this is good stuff. We don't have enough time. We are running
No,
out
we
of
don't have no
time.
time. Oh, thank
It's
you so much for having me on.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. This has been a wonderful experience. We're gonna have to bring you back,
Oh,
do something
amen.
together. We're gonna have to do something later on in 2022 or sometime in
Amen. Well,
2022
I'm available whenever you want me, Pastor. I'm
because
just here to serve.
you can never exhaust this topic
No,
because it
it goes
looks
so deeper
yes.
than what we're saying. Yeah, it really does. I could tell y'all some stories. It
Yeah.
really goes deeper than that. But
Mhm.
I just thank God that I was able to just, share just a little bit of what I do know.
Well, we thank you so very much once again, ladies and
You're
gentlemen. We have been
welcome.
talking to none other than Miss Michele Rhames, and she was talking about narcissistic abuse. And ladies and gentlemen, this is an exhaustive topic. We cannot do it all in the short time that we have, but we will
Right.
have Michele back to amp it up, and we'll talk about it a little more deeply in season 4. But
Absolutely.
we're just excited about what putting knowledge in your life, especially
Yes.
in our community, because
Yes.
we are so eager
Mm-hmm.
to be loved based off of
Mm-hmm.
what we've missed in our childhood, that
Yes.
we will take anything and anybody. And so it's very important that we
Yes.
understand what narcissism looks like, what abuse looks like, what red
Yes.
flags really mean,
Yes.
and so that we can keep ourselves safe in mind, body, spirit, and soul.
Yes. Amen.
Yes, amen. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will sign off, bid you adieu, and we will see you again next time right here on Life Matters with Michele. Be blessed.